Okay, hello viewers. Welcome to this video. I'm just going to discuss a few things. Last night I made a video. I was pretty upset about what was going on. Look, I don't want to sound ungrateful or anything. That's not what I meant to say. I just feel, it's not fair what I'm going through. And I know other people are going through the same issue with smoking. And like I said, I don't really want to discuss it anymore unless it gets solved because it's now a legal matter that will have to be dealt with. And fortunately the owner is on my side. They don't want smoking in the building either. It's just a matter of, getting the legal process involved and just, figuring it out from there. As far as the no lights go, well, somebody forgot to turn on the breaker. That's what that was about. But I guess I could have turned it on, but I wasn't going to touch anything. But look, all right, I don't want to, make anyone, look, I have a very good property owner, right? I believe I do. It's just a bad situation with the smoking. And, it's really a matter of the government really to do its job and just ban smoking in multifamily buildings. If there was a law, then the smoker would be arrested. He would be blacklisted probably from renting. So if there was a law like that, all right? But unfortunately there isn't. Was it blacklisting? I don't know what the word is, but he would have a mark on his record for being a smoker, or but it is up to the government to pass laws, I just want to talk about people don't understand again about mental illness, and we're looking at some pictures I just took today, late this afternoon in Hicksville, when I took a walk when it was a little less windy. There's some nice trees and stuff, but people with mental illness should not be bullied online. We should not be treated the way we are just for speaking out about the challenges we go through in our lives and made fun of and belittled about it just because I have a disability. Just because, and people don't understand mental illness because they don't see it. They don't really see it. They can't tell it. A lot of people with mental illness, you wouldn't be able to tell they have mental illness just by hearing them talk or whatever, But the fact is, when I get upset about things, like I did last night, you see, I get very stressed out and it makes me very sick. And it's a challenge that I've dealt with my whole life. I'm not going to get into graphic detail as to what happens to me when I have a really bad anxiety attack. I'm not going to do that. But the fact is that I'm belittled on here. I'm harassed. I'm bullied. And this is one thing that I'm tired of dealing with. I really am. And, the folks at YouTube obviously have the technology available at their hands to block such users, all right? I do believe in an open discussion. And, of course, I allow people to disagree with me. But the fact of the matter is that if you have a disagreement with someone, you don't make fun of them. You don't harass them, all right, because you have a disagreement with them, all right? You don't steal their videos and spread lies and that kind of thing. You don't do that, all right? It's against the community guidelines here on YouTube, and I'm tired of dealing with it. I really am tired of dealing with it, and YouTube has the technology. These users, they have the technology to verify accounts. They have the technology to require verification for anyone that registers YouTube, as well as existing members, that they have to provide their full, accurate information as to whom they are and where they live, and not hide behind these VPNs, because that's what a lot of these troublemakers do. They use VPNs, and that's how YouTube, even if they IP block them, well, they've got a VPN. They'll just use another VPN. So YouTube has to do more to get people's information, get their full name, their address, their phone number. So when they register for the account, they have to provide that information. And if there's somebody who has violated the community guidelines by bullying and other things, like copyright infringement and that, then they should never be allowed to have another account here on YouTube. I don't understand what the big deal is. I don't know why YouTube can't do that. It seems like YouTube just doesn't want to do that because, again, they don't want to upset a certain demographic. And we all know a certain demographic is behind all of this. And there's an individual that we know is behind this. All right, and his name is Mike Wheeler. It's not his real name, obviously, because he wouldn't use his real name. But we know he lives in Long Beach. That much we know. And he's involved in a lot of this. All right, and yet he keeps opening new accounts. I know he's not the only one. Him and his gang from the South Shore. They're just out there to denigrate people with disabilities, and that's not supposed to be allowed here on YouTube. That's against the community guidelines. So I have a right to express how I feel and what I go through in my life, all right? And I'm not going to be intimidated by anyone. And when it comes to the corruption, I'm not going to be intimidated either, the Wall Street corruption that goes on in this state. All right, people need to know about it. People need to know that not everybody is treated fairly in New York, and that it's wrong, and that it needs to change, and that everybody deserves the same treatment, regardless of whether they're white or black or Hispanic or Asian, regardless of whether they have a disability or not, regardless of whether they work on Wall Street or work somewhere else. It shouldn't matter. We all should be treated fairly and equally, and I'm not going to give that up. I'm not going to give that up. That is what I hold most dear to me. All right. And the fact is that there are people out there, particularly on the South Shore, that want favored special treatment. Look, you take a look at what's happened in the news lately, and almost every single person from Long Island that was involved in that terrorist attack at the Capitol, that riot when they stormed the Capitol building, every one of those is from the South Shore. I know one was from Belmore, another one I think was from Oceanside, or Freeport. They're all from the South Shore. Part of Freeport, or the South part, has money, all right? They're all from the South Shore. What does that tell you? These are the people that support Donald Trump, a lot of these people, all right? I'm not talking, this isn't about politics, and I'm just saying this is how they get their point across. This is what they do. This is what they do. And no wonder they like him. This is the arrogance that you have on the South Shore, and they don't want to. News 12 obviously, gears to them, finance professionals. They were all over what happened on Wall Street today, with the stock market going way down. Spent like 5 minutes on it. Meanwhile, no crime. They don't care about what people in the middle of the island go through. When they did their story on the cold weather this morning, they were in Massapequa Park. It's always the South Shore. The businesses, they want to be open later in Babylon. They want to have their parties after 10 o'clock, so they want the curfew lifted. They are in Babylon, Argyle Tavern. Of course, it's a favorite place for this demographic to hang out. They're going to be able to party all night, but there's a reason why we can't have that, because when people get drunk and party, they start spreading COVID around. The masks come off. So I still support this ban, this curfew at 10, all right, for the restaurants. I really, it's better than what they're dealing with in New York City right now. You can't even dine in a restaurant in New York City. And Cuomo is like, well, now we can do 25% capacity starting Valentine's Day. That's like over 2 weeks away from today. No, he should have, the indoor dining in New York City never should have been closed in the first place. But here I go again, expressing my opinion. Some people don't like it. They don't like it. I don't like Cuomo, all right? And I think people are starting to realize that with the nursing home scandal. I think maybe the tide is starting to turn against Cuomo, and that we're going to see his own party turn against him. And hopefully that will be the end of Cuomo. And he, just like the president, are going to face charges for their crimes and their corruption. But look, I know I went into this again. All right, this is about me. All right. Well, I just want to leave it like this because I don't want a long video about this subject. But I just want to say once again that I don't take anything for granted. All right, I am grateful for everything I have. I'm grateful for that my situation isn't worth. But the fact is that when something is wrong, I can't be quiet about it. This personal stuff, this personal situation, obviously, is a personal situation. Is a legal matter between me and the smoker. All right, but the other situations that go on that affect a lot of us, like the railroad, like the discrimination with the town, certain towns getting preferential treatment over other towns, that is something I will continue to talk about on here because it has to be talked about. And we got to talk about the corruption because, the first step in solving a problem is admitting there's a problem. And we have a serious problem with corruption here in New York and our local government that has to be fixed. And we got to keep speaking up about it because, like Pat Bonatar said, we must be invincible We can't afford to be innocent. We have to stand up and face the enemy. All right? It's a do or die situation. All right? And that's what we have to do. We have to do that. We have to stand up and stop the bull of Wall Street from trying to corrupt and ruin our state. This is our home. All right? We're not going to let this bull go raging through our state. We're not going to allow that to happen. We've got to stand up and face the enemy. Where are you going to run to when there's nowhere to run to anymore? All right? We've got to stop the bull now. All right? And that's doing something about this Wall Street corruption once and for all. And this is not an anti-free market thing. This is about Wall Street breaking the rules, like what we just saw with GameStop. Shorts, basically what they did is they basically stopped people from buying a stock because they wanted it to go down. They were manipulating stocks. That's not free market. That's corruption. All right, and Cuomo is in on all of this stuff and so much more. So that's all I got to say. So I hope you all stay warm tonight. I'm grateful that it is warm and I don't have to be out in the cold. I don't hate the homeless. I feel sorry for the homeless. I really do. Some of them are just people that have really bad mental illness that need help. That haven't gotten the help. I'm fortunate that I've had a supportive family, that I've gotten the help. Because if I didn't get that kind of help, I could have been out there just like them. All right? And I really think we need to do a lot more for mental illness in the state. Another thing that Cuomo has cut back on. If you want to be upset about all the homeless in the streets of New York, you can point the finger at Governor Andrew Cuomo. You can point the finger at Bill de Blasio for not taking care of these programs that help the mentally ill, for not funding them, for not getting the criminals off the streets. Because let's face it, some homeless people are afraid to go to shelters because there are criminals in there. All right? They have problems, all right, with criminals in there. All right? That is a real problem because criminals belong in jail. All right? People who commit crimes belong in jail. And people who are homeless because they are severely mentally ill deserve help. We have veterans that are homeless. We have so many people that are homeless. It's gotten a lot worse. And, of course, Trump had a lot to do with it, too. Of course. All these politicians, they're only looking out for Wall Street and the finance sector and the rich. They don't care about the rest of us. So, look, all right, we've got to look out for each other. We got to look out for this planet of ours. All right, that is the most important thing. I'm very optimistic that Joe Biden is doing a very good job. He's really putting climate change as a main priority, and that's very good. I really get the impression Joe Biden is going to be somebody who's going to look out for every American, regardless of race, disability, income, whatever. He's going to look out for all of us, all right? He's not going to be an arrogant, egotistical blowhard like Trump, all right? He will look out for us. But just because we have a new president doesn't solve the corruption here that we're facing locally. So I continue to urge all my colleagues to speak out about what is happening. And we must continue the fight to expose this corruption so we can make New York a better place again, a place for all people, not just a certain demographic, but for everybody. All right, so I want to thank you for watching, and take care.